Good morning, everyone. We'll begin by showing you which book we're going to read today, and this one is called The 7 Silly Eaters. It's a different one. I've never read this one before, but it's quite cute. Let's begin with our song. Good morning, I hope you're well today. The sun is shining, the sky is blue. The flowers are sparkling just like you. Good morning, I hope you're well today. And that's for Luna, because her mummy gave us so many books to read and we've enjoyed every one. Thank you, Tatiana and Luna. So, today we have 7 Silly Eaters by Mary Ann Hoberman, and it's illustrated by Marla Frazee. And you know I love illustrations. Some of these children's books are beautiful. This is really quite funny. The 7 Silly Eaters, and this is the house that they live in. Not so long ago, they say, a mother lived just like today. Mrs. Peters was her name. Her little boy was named the same. Now, Peter was a perfect son in every way except for one. And here's the mother, and there's Mrs. Peters and Mr. Peters, and he's Peter. When he's just born, he's got one problem. Can they see my dog from there? Because my dog is rolling in the grass right outside. Do you see her? Look, there she is, rolling in the grass. We've just had her hair cut, so she looks very skinny, and she wants to scratch everywhere. When Peter was just 1 year old, he didn't like his milk served cold. He didn't like his milk served hot. He liked it warm. And he would not drink it if he was not sure it was the proper temperature. And there he is. Look, he didn't like it when it was hot. He didn't like it when it was cold. He liked it to be the right temperature. And there he is, Peter, in this lovely house. And in the house it's nice and neat, and there's the mummy. The daddy's holding the Peter, and here's the dog. Oh, he's taking the spilled milk. Okay. But Mrs. Peters didn't mind. She was a mother, sweet and kind. And when his milk spilled on the floor, she patiently prepared some more. She'd take the bottle from the shelf and chuckle softly to herself. What a silly sort of eater is my darling baby Peter. So he was. That's quite difficult to say. What a silly sort of eater is my darling baby Peter. When Peter had not yet turned 2, another baby, sweet and new, was born. Dear Lucy, small and fair, with big blue eyes and curly hair. But long before the child was grown, she had opinions of her own, of what she'd eat and what she'd not. She hated milk, both cold and hot, and warm was worst of all. Instead, whenever Lucy dear was fed, she bellowed for pink lemonade, not from a can, oh no, but homemade. Oh dear. So Mrs. Peters now got 2 children. This one only likes warm milk, and this one only likes lemonade. And this is Lucy, and that's Peter. And there's the mum and the dad. Oh, they're very calm there. Oh. But Mrs. Peters didn't mind. She squeezed each lemon to its mind, while mopping milk up from the floor and patiently preparing more. She'd take the lemons from the shelf and giggle softly to herself. What a silly pair of eaters are Lucy, dear, and Peter Peters. I think this rhyming is meant to make us watch our mouths. So here's Lucy, she's drinking lemonade, and here's Peter, he's drinking warm milk, and the parents are quite happy. Now Lucy grew and Peter grew till he was 3 and she was 2. And who was 1? Why, little Jack, with eyes so brown and hair so black, a happy baby, never cross. But all he'd eat was apple sauce. Peeling apples by the pound, Mrs. Peters faintly frowned. She'd take the apples from the shelf and murmur weakly to herself, what a silly bunch of eaters are Lucy, Jack, and Peter Peters. Now she's got 3 silly eaters. So we've got Lucy, who only wants lemonade. There she is. And here we've got Peter Peters, who only wants warm milk. And now there's the new baby Jack, and he only wants apples. And they're still very calm because they've only got 1, 2, 3 children, 3 silly eaters. Peter, Lucy, and young Jack had another brother, Mac. Mac was charming, round and plump, but if his oatmeal had a lump, Mac would dump it on the cat. Mrs. Peters hated that. But since she loved her children 4, she'd strain the oatmeal 2 times more. She'd take it from the pantry shelf and mumble sadly to herself, what a foolish group of eaters are all my precious little Peters. Oh, now and she's got 4 now. Look, it's getting very heavy. What's with this? Lucy, and then we had Jack. Oh my goodness, I've forgotten so many of them. Look at them all. They're chasing the cat. She's got apples for 1 and lemons for another and milk for another. And look at they're waiting with snowballs out there. Oh, one's even on the toilet. Before another year was through, who came along? Why, Mary Lou. She was a darling, sweet and bright, and had a healthy appetite. That is, as long as she was fed soft and squishy homemade bread. Poor Mrs. Peters got no rest, but still she did her very best. She'd take the flour from the shelf and mutter feebly to herself, what a fussy bunch of eaters are my lovely little Peters. Now this is the one I love. Look, so we've got one upstairs here, he's making a tent. And then we've got one down here with a teddy bear. Uh-oh, and the cats and the dogs are eating all the newspaper. We've got one under the table reading a book. And we've got one falling asleep. Oh my goodness. And Mr. Peters has got one on his neck. And poor old Mrs. Peters, she looks as though she's going to have another one soon. How many have they got now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 children. Whoa. A year rolled by. The children grew. They really are a splendid crew, sighed Mrs. Peters, pinning pins and diapering her brand new twins. 2 of them. Oh, little sisters, quick and smart. Impossible to tell them apart. But flow like poached eggs and fran like fried. And if she mixed them up, they cried. Tired to the very bone, Mrs. Peters groaned a groan. She'd take the eggs down from the shelf and weakly but whisper to herself, what persnicking young eaters are all my 7 little Peters. 7 Peters, my goodness. And here's the twins, Flo and Fran. And one likes fried and one likes boiled. Was that one? Goodness me. One likes poached. Oh, I like poached. One likes fried and one likes poached. And look at them all. He's eating bread. Look, the twins are walking. And there's the cat's here still all over. And he's got eggs here and lemons. One upside down. Father's bringing in apples. They've got chains up. It must be Christmas. And this one's awake today drinking lemonade. And there, the two boys. Oh, my goodness. What a houseful. She's got diaper pins. Now time went by, as time will do, and as it passed the children grew. The problem was that as they grew, their appetites kept growing too, but not their choice of what to eat. Each child continued to repeat that they wanted what they'd had before. The trouble is, they wanted more. So here they are asking, please can I have some more? I don't like that, I want lemonade. Get some apples, get some bread baked. Now we've got one with milk, and we've got the twins. Oh, look at all the twins' clothes. Goodness. Oh, wait till you see this big. Creamy oatmeal, pots of it. Homemade bread and lots of it. Peeling apples by the peck. Mrs. Peters was a wreck. Wow. I would think she would be a wreck with all that cooking up there. The loaf in the oven and oh, look at the washing and the toys, and some of it's all neat and tidy. And oh, even Mr. Peters is getting tired. He's going to the grocery store, look. Oh, and they've got toilet rolls and pots and pans and oh dear, poor Mrs. Peters. What a group of fussy eaters. She wiped her brow and heaved a sigh. Another year was passing by. In fact, she realized with sorrow her birthday would arrive tomorrow. Drearily, she shook her head and wearily went up to bed. I would think she's very tired and her birthday's tomorrow. And at the moment, they're all in their birthday in the night clothes. Look, Mr. Peters reading them a story. Poor old Mrs. Peters going to bed. She thought the children had forgot her special day, but they had not. At crack of dawn, they all began to carry out a secret plan. Mrs. Peters would be fed a birthday breakfast in her bed. A breakfast made of all the foods that kept them in such happy moods. And there they are up, and they're all plotting and planning for their mother's birthday, all hiding inside the attic by the looks of things. Look at them all, some are half asleep, some of them are climbing up in there, look. So while their weary mother slept, down the stairs the children crept, and from the cupboards and the shelves, happily they helped themselves. Cheerfully they chopped and stirred, preparing what they each preferred. But despite the pains they took, since nobody knew how to cook, to measure things or make them hot, the more they tried, the worse it got. Oh dear. All that planning, look, and everybody's in the kitchen. Look, he's throwing apples. One's in the pot there, look, and where's the twins? The twins are on the floor, one is up here, look. Oh, she's baking bread. She's making lemonade. He's getting milk. And the cats and the dogs as well. Look, he says, I want more. Oh dear, let's see what happens next. First, Mac's oatmeal turned out lumpy, which made poor Mac turn grim and grumpy. In fact, the lumps got him so cross he dumped them in Jack's applesauce. This bothered Jack so much he threw it in the dough of Mary Lou, who tossed the mishmash that made straight into Lucy's lemonade. And that put her in such a huff, she poured the icky sticky stuff into the double frying pan that held the eggs of Flo and Fran, who flung the hodgepodge on the floor into the milk in Peter's pot. Oh, look, so they're all getting grumpy. So this one is going in there, he's throwing it in there. They're going in there, look, there they go, into the twins' pot. And now, whoops, it's all going in Peter's pot. I wonder what they're going to make. But when they say what they had done, they wish they'd never had begun. They hardly swept a wink that night, and still things hadn't turned out right. And even though they tried their best, it hadn't worked. They were depressed. They'd been in trouble too unless they found some place to hide the mess. The oven seemed the perfect spot. They all forgot it was still was hot, though they stuck the pot inside, and then they went back to bed again. So all the mess, oh dear, so all the things that they have liked, they've put all in one big pot, and now it's going into the oven that was still hot. I wonder what they're going to make. Do you think it will make something? Oh, the clock struck 6, but on they slept. Meanwhile, their mother softly stepped down to the kitchen, smelled a smell. What could it be? She could not tell. It smelled so good, she sniffed some more and opened up the kitchen door, the oven door. She woke the children with her cries. They all came running in surprise. And in the kitchen, what they found was Mrs. Peters dancing round. And in the oven, no mistake, a pink and plump, perfect cake. Look what they'd made. In the oven, all the children, Mrs. Peters is looking at all the things that have gone wrong. Wow. And as their mother danced with glee, she cried, "A birthday cake for me. A birthday cake still piping hot. And to think, I thought that you forgot. Now tell me, please, how did you make the pink and plump and perfect cake? So high and light and smooth as silk." "It's smooth, all silk, from all my milk," said Peter. "Lucy said, it's pink from all my lemonade, I think. And from my apple," added Jack. "My oatmeal made it soft," said Mac. "My bread dough too," said Mary Lou. Said Fran and Flo, and as for its size, it was our eggs that made it rise. Then everybody sniffed some more and danced around the kitchen floor. They're all happy because they've got this beautiful cake. Look, the dad and mum are dancing, and look, all the children are happy. How many children? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 children. They put the cake upon a dish and lit the candles. "Make a wish," the children cried, "before you blow." And Mrs. Peters did just so. And what is more, her wish came true, as birthday wishes always do. And look, she's got this beautiful cake with the funny candles that they've all helped to make, and they're all so happy. She's blowing out the candles. And I think, oh, she's got presents as well. Look, she's got some flowers. Someone is giving her some bugs in a jar, and a picture, and it's all got sellotape on it. Isn't that lovely? And from that day to this, 'tis said, The Peters family all is fed. A simple meal, just one. A meal that's good for everyone. A meal on which they all agree, made from their secret recipe. They all take turns in mixing it. They all take turns in fixing it. It's thick to beat and quick to bake. It's fine to eat and fun to make. And there they are. It's Mrs. Peters' birthday cake. Now that's a funny one. I haven't read one like that for a long time. It's such... The 7 Silly Eaters. I hope you're not a silly eater. But you have a good day. Find something really nice to eat and be nice to your mum today. Bye.